know the identity of this offense is going to be run first. What's the identity of this defense they're trying to build?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, number one, we always start with execution, right? Doing your job, doing your 111th, and then effort, right? So effort can be the toughness wins, kind of the mantra of the entire team, right? And then communication. I think those are, three things that we always look at in order to be a successful defense. Those are kind of the building blocks of, the base three things that we do.
It's not the same Claypool. He says there's going to be regiments that kind of go through on that defensive line. Is that kind of what you're hoping for?
Oh yeah, just different lines.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, we want to be able to play 8 to 10, defensive linemen, right? Keep them fresh, keep fighting, keep swinging, and making sure that we can throw multiple people in an offensive line. I think that's very crucial in anything on defense. Is being able to making sure that we can keep throwing the punches at the offensive line. And Coach Geely, Coach O do a great job, and our players do a great job of putting on strength and weight this offseason in order to keep the blows coming.
Is that something you've always done in your career, or is that maybe, like Phil just noted, kind of inspired by the Super Bowl and the success that Eagles had?
Yeah, I mean, we've done that for a while. Coach G and Coach O, our defensive line coaches, have been with them in multiple spots, and it's always been a big emphasis, and I know it's a big emphasis that our head coach preaches too as well, so it's definitely a trickle-down effect that way.
I have two different coaches on the defensive line, one just for edge rushers and one for the rest of the defensive line. What benefit does that give you guys?
Well, I mean, Gabe, the closer you are to the football, right, things happen fast, and the closer you are, everything is going to be quick, and it's all technique, all fundamentals, and when you're closer to the ball, you can disrupt the play a lot quicker. Right, you have an advantage. So disruption is production for us up front, and that's why we put a lot of resources into the defensive line, and we got the two best right there coaching them up, Coach O and Coach G.
And right now, what would you say is the unique strength of the defense that you're kind of switching towards, which is specific personnel?
Yeah, I mean, I think, ultimately you're looking for your playmakers, right? The guys that win first step football. And the guys that win the one-on-one matchups, those are the ones you want to highlight when you get into a game, right? When you get in those areas of, hey, it's third down, like who's going to win the one-on-one, right? Is it on the back? Is it on the tackle, guard, center, right? And then who's going to win on the edge, right? Who are our playmakers on the edge that have to win the one-on-ones in space as a defensive back? And so as you look at the scheme and you build it up, those are the, basic building blocks that we look at. So some of the defense make major impacts, right? Sometimes the best coverage is a great defensive line, and then sometimes the best rush is a great coverage that allows the defensive line to get home. So really, it's everyone involved. We always say none of us are as great as all of us because that's ultimately a team game, right?
And are the players buying into the idea that there's not just one starter, there's different shifts, changes, and different lines, that no one's really just going to be the guy at defensive end or defensive tackle?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hats off to the players. I mean, this is a player game, right? Just from being here, the culture, the players, the leadership, they amplify every single day, right? That's really what it is. That's why it's a joy to be here and coach them. And they know they need everybody, right? It's a long season, you're going to have to play multiple guys, and I think they just buy in that really it's the ultimate team game, especially defense.
We're seeing a lot of guys kind of coaching each other up on the field sometimes, conversation between players. How much do you encourage that amongst the guys to really work on what they are seeing from other guys, and how much do you encourage that through the roster?
Yeah, it's a great question again, but ultimately we want that, right? And I think as we got her in the spring, right, we're seeing more and more of it, and that's just a hats off to our defensive coaches, all of them, right? From Coach Bressie, Coach JD, Coach Tucker, and we talk about the D-line coaches. But when the players are able to teach the younger players, that's when our building blocks are continuing to progress, and that is a credit to the players all the way for them.
Looking at a couple of obviously the games coming up, highly athletic quarterbacks, getting ready for those kind of matchups, finishing plays. It seemed like last year this was a difficulty for this defense. I know we got a lot of guys coming in that are new to this program, but how much do you emphasize the finishing of making sure that things are contained with, especially these athletic quarterbacks we'll be facing up in the early part of the year?
A mobile quarterback, right? You're always going to have to do different things in order to, make them go lateral instead of vertical. So from the finishing point for you, that's an emphasis from day one, right? The guys that are going to play are the ones that finish the play, and that comes from the toughness wins mentality, right? That comes from winning your one-on-one. But the guys that finish the play, those are the ones we have to highlight because that's the guys that are going to win.
Choose to go with that.
Yeah, so just our base alignment's 4-2-5. So we're going to have 5 DBs, 2 linebackers, 4 D linemen on there, and it gives you some ability to be multiple, right? To have kind of a hybrid DB that can blitz, that can play man, right, and handle some of the spread sets that you're going to see throughout the course of the season. So I think the versatility there, that's kind of why we went to the the 4-2-5 defense over the last couple seasons.
And every time I talk to the defensive player about the defensive changes, they get a big smile on their face and they talk about it just unleashes their potential as a player. Can you kind of speak to that and what kind of joy that gives you as kind of a football?
Yeah, like I've said before, it's the players' game, and I think they've done a great job of buying into the scheme, the culture, right, and how we want to teach. And I think it's a credit to the players and a credit to our defensive staff. They're great teachers, right? This is a teaching game, right? We are teachers in the classroom, teachers out here. We want those guys to play fast, physical, right, and communicate at a high level. And the more reps, the repetitions they see, the faster they can play. And obviously that's what we want for the season.
One more question. What's something that the Huskies did that you want the Bulldogs to do this year?
Yeah, every season's a new season, and I'm more excited now than ever for this upcoming one. I think ultimately, kind of what we hit on before, right? As long as we communicate, right, and we execute, and we give the effort that is the standard here for the Bulldog program, great things are going to happen. I don't look at statistical things and everything. What you try to do is what is your standard of play, right? And as long as we have that standard of play, like all those things are going to take care of itself.
Well, I have to say that it's good to have a group of guys coming back. We've got our long snapper back, we got our punters back, we got Dylan Lynch coming back with some good young players behind him. So there's some experience there that we can build with, and we're looking forward to doing that. And look forward to having a better year and improving on in areas where we need to improve.
Coach, it seems like every year you have to develop a new returner. So who's on your radar this year?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Well, at this point, there's there's exactly 64% of this team that's never played a snap of Bulldog football. So, the challenge every year in training camp is to make your new team. Obviously, Rashawn Luke, Speedy Luke, Jayon Farrar are 2 transfers that have done good things. Jordan Malauulu's doing great things. Kenyon Cotton is a young guy. Rivers, there's a number of guys that are working back there, but that's an area where we've really got to grow because we don't have anybody that's done it here. But I'm confident by game time we'll get that done.
And then talking to Dylan Lynch yesterday, he said he worked a lot in the offseason on more of his mental game. What can you say about how important that is in kicking?
In kicking, you play one down and you live with the result of that down. And, on that down, all the focus is on the guy that ultimately handles the ball with his foot. And, you've just got to have the ability to go in, lock in, for 3 to 5 seconds and be mentally sharp and hit the ball. Not unlike hitting being announced and going onto the first hole and hitting your tee shot. But you got to be, you just got to be mentally sharp. Dylan's had a really good off season. I know the season didn't end the way that he wanted it to. That's human performance. One thing I know about Dylan Lynch, though, he's extremely mentally tough, and I'm really confident that in his drive and desire to be great is there.
You brought in a new local kicker. How has he been adapting?
So yeah, Ryan Kobzeff came here from Clovis North, and of course we've now had 2 practices, and he's got great talent. But with young players, the game is faster here. So in high school you can kind of take your time, you can execute the kick, and in college you got 1.2 seconds with 3 guys touching the ball. So that's the adjustment he's got to make. But the talent is certainly all there.
All right, and another year, same cowboy hat? Is this a new cowboy hat?
Oh, it's a new cowboy hat, but it's the same hat, right? This is my shape, right?
And you got the red on the top.
Oh yeah, got the red on the top, but yeah, this is the cowboy crease with the cutter bumps and the JB brim, okay?
And why
But this is my shape.
Cowboy hat the best hat for sun protection?
Oh, first of all, the cowboy hat is by far the most recognizable piece of apparel on the planet Earth, okay? it's iconic. And I always say, boy, if you're going to be man enough to wear it, you better be man enough to represent it. But you know, as far as I know, people have been wearing them for a long time, and it's a functional piece of apparel that's you know, just incredible for keeping the sun off. But boy, I'll tell you what, God love the American cowboy.
How many cowboy hats would you say you have?
Well, I would say that I change my straw hat pretty much annually because it's kind of a you know, a one-year type of hat. But I probably got 6 or 7 felt hats. But you know what? I like getting caught in a cowboy hat. I really like the way they feel, the way they look, and what they represent.
If you could wear one on game day, would you?
I absolutely would wear a cowboy hat on game day. I'd wear it any day. But you know, it's really important to be part of the team. So.
Really, it's everyone involved.
All right.